Alright, in today's video we're taking a look at a smartwatch fitness tracker. First, a couple of images. This will give you some details about this, and of course there will be a link below the video if you want to find out more that we don't cover. Alright, so check out these images, give you some details, then we'll jump into the video. Okay, so as stated, we're taking a look at this smartwatch. It comes in a few colors. Blue is my favorite color, so that automatically makes me like it more than some of the others that don't have a lot of options. It comes in a box like this with a little cover. It has a cutout area right there for the actual watch, and there is a little cover on the actual dial so it won't be scratched or damaged in shipping, which is nice. There's so many things about this fitness tracker or watch that I actually like. One is the magnetic charging cable. Although it's nice to have maybe type C for universal compatibility, ports do get worn out, and it does introduce potential for water ingress. So having a magnetic charger and one that actually holds on it tight enough and well enough without having some little pin mechanism that doesn't actually line up very well makes this one very simple, very easy to charge, and it's a decent length, so it's not one of those super short cables. And again, the magnet is, quite strong, so that's nice. In addition, included is also a user manual I wanted to show you real quickly. So pretty good amount of information provided. A lot of watch faces available with this. Other reasons I like this: when you lift your arm, it illuminates the actual face, and that is very common. But the thing that's not so common is I found that when you are showering or washing your hands, or if you go swimming, of course you couldn't scuba dive with this, but other more shallow type water uses, you won't have any problems because of the waterproof rating, but never push the button when you're underwater if you can help it. So that's something to keep in mind. But what I'm trying to get at here is the water, when it hits the face, it doesn't activate it. It's not a touch sensitive face when it's not illuminated, so it doesn't wake it up. You can push the button to wake it up, or you can turn your arm up and that will wake it up, and then it becomes touch sensitive. And so for that reason, it's really, really nice, because if you get in the shower and you're moving around, it's possible to hit different things and have it on some screen that you're not familiar with if you don't use all of the functionality. So that's potentially an issue. Another thing I like about it, it's not too big and it's not too small, so it doesn't have this heavy, cumbersome feeling, and it's not so tiny that it's super difficult to read. Now for me, it's still a little bit hard to read because I have vision issues related to other health-related issues. But that said, I don't know how well it shows up, but right here you can see it's just smooth, and that's because the band tucks inside, and it's still got water on it from just washing my hands a few moments ago. So I'm going to take this off and show you what I'm referring to. Alright, so you've got this opening right there. So when you put this on and you put it through the actual piece and metal piece and lock it down, instead of going through instead of going through a little tab that sits here, so the watch is like that, where this piece is sticking out and gets caught on things, and sometimes that little piece will break, this one tucks under like that. So it's very smooth, very comfortable. I don't get bothered by that piece being under like that at all. It is not very stretchy, but it is a very soft silicone-like feel, rubber-like feel to it, and it has a lot of capabilities. You can do the step tracking, of course, your sleep monitoring, but you can also do blood pressure monitoring. And a lot of people wouldn't know the accuracy of the actual tracker because they probably don't do that or take their blood pressure very often. But because of my extensive medical history and constant medical treatments, I do see and know my blood pressure way better than most people, and I get it done multiple times per day, 3 days a week minimum. So that said, this compared to the machines there, very accurate and very impressed because of how accurate it actually is. Another reason why I like this really a whole lot is, as opposed to some that are very difficult with the bands and everything, and I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it, but right there, you can see that little sort of, I'm going to call it a tab, but it's not really a tab, but there's a little post or tab sticking up right there, and you can actually hit that with your fingernail and pop this band off and on with relative ease. So if you had multiple and wanted to change colors, or if you needed to change it for whatever reason, you could. Now there's no extra bands included, but with some, I'm sure just about everyone that's ever had a watch before knows you've got to get some type of a very sharp object and get in there and hit those little pins and line things up, and then sometimes the pin will fall out or maybe shoot across the room even. In some instances. This one, it stays in the band when you take it off, and it's very easy to hit that little tab and pull it off and back on. So that's pretty impressive. Now the watch itself has a nice brightness to it, and that's the watch face that I've chosen. And of course you've got the touchscreen functionality, but we're not going to get into all of that because it's harder for me to show you and for you to see. Now the other thing that I really like about this is that it uses an app called GloryFit. I've used that app in the past, and I'm using it with this, and it's probably one of the most full-featured apps that I've seen. It's very easy to use, it's very self-explanatory, and sometimes when I do screen recordings, the screen will shut off and it'll stop recording. So I'm going to show it to you more this way. So you have your step counter. Right now I'm still recovering, so I have very few steps taken today. So I feel like it's fairly accurate. Some are hugely inaccurate. This one seems fairly accurate. That may vary, depending on the user. Because some people are way more active, and I think swinging your arm, for the most part, it's going to pick up steps, but it may pick up some other movement. I'm not really certain. The nice thing, you have the weather here, and anything you touch on, basically, so there's a weather forecast. Step counter, if you touch on that, it's going to give you more details on your steps. Same with heart rate, 70 beats per minute. I have a pacemaker. That is exactly what it's set to, and that's exactly what it's picking up, so that's good. And if I click on it, or touch it rather, I can look at more details. Sleep record, same thing, more details. And blood pressure, again, same thing, more details available. And you can start it manually right there. And I just took a blood pressure a few moments before I started the video. It's pretty much spot on for me, 122/80. Sometimes my blood pressure drops, but when it's right, it's in the 110, 120-ish range. And the second number, although I don't keep track of it as much, I want to say it's probably in the 60 to 90 range. So that's actually fairly accurate at 122/80. And there's a start button there. Then you'll have a little sort of a clock-like rotation showing you that it's actually analyzing and measuring. So that's really cool. You have your sync button on the bottom. Then you have a option to do physical activity. So if you're going to go walking or jogging or what have you, you can actually use this to kind of track and monitor and initiate that session, which is really cool for people who are active. Then you have your list of different things you can set up as far as communications with the watch itself. So if you wanted reminders, like sitting down too much, or heart rate monitor, you can adjust those settings. So all of that's available there. You can also do some of this, says universal settings and firmware upgrades. And you also have on the very end here, on this button at the very end, basically the user, and then there's some more settings there, your target rate, your height, your weight, so it can actually make sure it uses the right measurements, algorithms and such. and there's a little bit of a common problem, so it kind of walks you through. So that's pretty much a real quick overview of the app. But yeah, I'm just super impressed overall with the actual abilities this offers for the price, and the fact that it is water resistant and works really well in that regard. Now the magnet part, as I wanted to show you, you can see this green flashing. That's actually because it's trying to monitor your blood pressure. So one way it will not go on because of the magnets, you flip it around the other way, hits it automatically, and it's just attached, and you don't have to worry about it falling off. I've seen some where they actually fall off. This one is actually strong enough to support the watch itself. So, but it does like just break away. So for some reason someone grabbed it or hit it, it's not going to break or damage any ports. So that's kind of a real quick overview. Again, I don't really need to show you a whole lot on the watch because it really depends on what you set up. But all of the different things that you want to do, I can't really see what I'm doing here. But yeah, you can just dial in different things. You can turn the watch off and on with the button. So if you click it, it returns, turns it off, turns it back on. So very responsive. When you lift your arm, you know, so you're going to read the position, you're going to read it or view it. It comes on, works really reliably. I don't have any issues with it at night. I don't wear a lot of things because you can see all the bruising and stuff. I get a lot of bruising because of all the medical, but I do like having these at times, and I will wear these at times, more so when I'm curious what my heart rate and blood pressure is doing, what my sleep is doing, more than anything else for me, but that's going to vary for you. So anyway, I just want to give you a quick overview, somewhat quick overview, give you some reasons why I really like this. My only issue or problems, I don't really get the SMS reminders, but I probably can't read the actual text too well anyway due to my vision, some days more than others. So not really concerned about that, and I always have my phone close. I've had no connectivity issues when I have the phone close, or if I walk away and return to the phone, open the app, it syncs pretty much automatically. I can initiate a sync and make sure, but everything's really quick and it's been very reliable. Battery life has been really good, at least 5 to 7 days I would imagine most people will get depending upon their use. And I was away in the hospital for a little over a month. The watch sat without being charged and maintained, I want to say about 25% was remaining, so 3/4 of the charge maybe used over the course of a month roughly, because I had used it a little before I went into the hospital. So that seems to be, you know, suggesting the battery life will be very good. I don't know about long term, over, you know, a year's time, how rapidly that could degrade, but, and I don't know, like I said, 5 to 7 days, that's, I'm guessing, because if you're using it frequently, you're doing the activities and checking your steps, and you're looking at the, I don't use it that frequently, but I do check in occasionally, and I'm getting a week basically out of it at least before charging is required. But I like to kind of keep it charged a little bit so I don't forget. Anyway, that's it. I think I've rambled long enough. I've given you, I hope, enough details to make you know whether this would be something you would like or not. Again, check out the link below if you want to find out more, and otherwise, thanks for watching.